Sinaia's Choice by Nava Dijkstra. I'm standing in a circle and looking around me. I'm extending my hand to my friend. Forest, 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 let's dance, dance in the forest, forest. I and Sinaia are holding hands, and turning so fast to the sound of laughter of the other girls. Sinaia. Her mother's voice was heard. I'm playing, Sinaia replied, and continues to hold hands. Her mother is standing in the entrance of the house. There is a stronger message in her posture than in her words, and Sinaia is retorting. But I'm having fun, I want to play. Her mother enters into the house and Sinaia looks at me as if she was searching a way out. Then she let go of my hand and went home. The door was locked behind her, so was our friendship. From that same day, Sinaia and her sisters were locked inside their house, and were not allowed to play with me or with the children in the neighborhood, that were mainly traditional and secular compared to them. Sinaia's family remained aloof, and they were careful not to mingle with us, that God forbid they won't be influenced by the secular customs and will come out with a vicious culture. In the past, it was a neighborhood full of religious people, that the synagogues barely contained them, but over the years, many Orthodox chose to leave the neighborhood in favor of a more Orthodox neighborhood, and only Sinaia's family and a handful of elderly were left, as the last descendants from the magnificent past that disappeared. Despite the segregation of the Levy family, no one kept a grudge. Their charity work was widely known. Sinaia's parents were known for their charity works, in organizing wedding ceremonies for poor people, and officiating weddings for free. The tremendous seclusion and asceticism was regarded by the people in the neighborhood as a withdrawal from the earthly life in favor of the spiritual life. The only opportunity that was left for me to meet Sinaia was when she and her younger sisters, Iska and little Rachel, made their way to school and back. We pass each other as Sinaia greets me with downcast eyes and continues to walk. Years had passed since Sinaia went to pursue her studies in a university, where she took a degree in education, and I began my military service. That forced me to spend many hours on buses every day. One time, I noticed Sinaia boarding the bus, where I was seated, and she came close towards me with a nice smile. "How are you?" she asked. I looked around to be sure that she was really talking to me. "I didn't see you for a long time," she said, and sat next to me. I smiled to myself. Indeed, many times she walked by me and didn't see me. "Yes," I replied dismissively. I could hardly accept the sudden change in her. "I am studying in a religious university." I nodded slightly. "Where do you serve?" She tried to draw a friendly conversation from me. "In Tzarifin," I replied hesitantly, and an unexplainable feeling of fear crept into my heart, that she will deter me from my being completely secular, and she is completely righteous. "The uniform fits you," she added. Now I felt much more relaxed. Obviously, she has no problem that I'm spending my time in the army instead of going to a religious university. The following day, we met on the bus again. "We are catching up for everything that we missed," she said with a smile. "Your parents are allowing you to talk to me now." I joked, "Let's put it this way, I am designed enough now to be influenced by environmental factors and destruction." She smiled. "I'm getting married soon," she informed me. "Good, congratulations." "Matchmaking, so you do not know him?" "I will meet him on Wednesday. He will come with his family and ask my permission. And if he is not your taste, She looked at me smiling. He will be. I looked back at her and saw my little friend, whom I spent most of my childhood with. The delicate features of her face didn't change much, and the years that passed agreed with her beauty. They added a feminine and exquisite tenderness. I'm sure that he will like you. I loudly expressed the things that I thought. Beauty is not everything. There are much deeper things. She solemnly looked at me for a moment, then added, maybe you want to come with me to the meetings with the rabbis. It's once a week. I think you can learn a lot of things that you can't see from where you are. I wish you lots of good luck. I cut the butt of her attempts of bringing me back to the world of orthodoxy. She smiled pleasantly and continued to explain to me the wonders of religion, how religion takes care of all evil and how important to consecrate Sabbath. We continued to see each other randomly, and eventually, a special friendship was created between us. We learned to respect each other's belief, and I felt free to talk to her about my military service, and about the commander who was courting me. She in turn told me enthusiastically about her matchmaking, and about their meetings. Then a month before the wedding, I noticed that her face was not like before. Has something happened? I asked, and she shook her head. Sinaia, you can tell me anything. I waited for an answer that did not come, and instead, a tear that tells everything streamed down her face. You do not want to marry him? I asked gently. She did not answer me. We continued to sit on the bus, without a word. And when we parted near our house, I said, if you want to talk, just cross the road. She smiled, and I smiled back at her. I didn't see her for a week, and not on the following days either. Evil tongues gossiped that she ran away from home, that she fell in love with a man, and went to live with him. I was shocked. It was clear to me that this is not the whole picture. Something else is hidden behind it. After a month, I received a phone call from Sinaia. She said that I was her only friend left, and asked me to go visit her in her house. It's not the most luxurious, but I'm good here. I have a rooftop and a small backyard. What more do I need? She presented the house to me. So I understand that you got married. Certainly, she replied in distress, that I dared to think that she lived with a man out of wedlock. He is humble and kind. He runs the People in Distress Association, an organization that helps religious young men and women who have lost their way. She said, for many, there is no place for such organization in the religious sector, because this is a kind of abandonment of religion. But for me, and for my husband, these are the moments in which there is a need to extend a hand and try to put them to a straight path, and even if it's not, we're here for them in any way they choose. Give them an ear and nourishment on the way, as well as profitable advice to help them on their way. Her choice made it clear to me that despite her isolation and aloofness from the children in the neighborhood, we are always a part of her life. I admired her for that. Unfortunately, destiny introduced me to my heart's desire, but it detached me from my parents. She continued, I was shocked. So, they didn't come to your wedding? She shook her head. Not even my sisters. She paused. That's why I made a modest wedding. You have no idea how much I miss them. I can imagine, but time is the cure for everything. I believe that in time they will forgive you and accept you and your husband. Yes, I know. After that same meeting, We kept in touch by phone, from which I learned that Sinaia did and will do everything possible to refresh her relationship with her parents. She called them many times, sent letters, and respected figures, but nothing helped. And when her sister got married and she was not invited, Sinaia realized that there is no going back, and stopped making efforts. Maybe when you get pregnant, they will forgive you. I tried to encourage her. Thank God, it will be soon. She gently put her hand on her stomach. Are you pregnant? I asked happily. She took my hand and began to mutter quietly. I stood in a circle, and looking around me, I extend my hand to my friend. She stopped singing, and stared at some point in space. I was an unhappy child. I used to look at you playing outside, singing and dancing, while I, as the eldest child, needed to help at home and take care of my younger sisters. I was never a child. I wonder if I will know how to be a mother. A few months later, Sinaia felt contractions and arrived at the hospital with her husband. It turned out that when a human being stops making effort, then destiny gives what he asked for in the most unexpected time and place. At the entrance of the delivery room, she met her mother and her sister, who was also about to give birth. Mother. Sinaia turned to her mother in a plea, but her mother turned her face away from her. Sinaia turned her eyes to her sister, but she also ignored her. They lay in an opposite room. Sinaia could hear her sister's cries of pain when the contractions didn't leave her. Here we go, the first is out. She heard the nurse and she realized that her sister has twins. She thanked God that he gave her the chance to be close to her sister during those exciting moments. While the midwife and the doctors were still busy in the delivery of the second twin, Sinaia felt a terrible pain. The anesthesiologist came and gave her an epidural, but the pain did not subside. I feel terrible, Sinaia told the midwife when she entered into her room. Yes, I know. Is it your first pregnancy? Yes. Is it supposed to hurt this much? The nurse nodded and gave her a comforting smile. In a minute, the epidural will take effect, then you will feel better, but after half an hour the pain intensified. It's far more painful, Sinaia complained, and the doctor added another dose of epidural that seemed to weaken her, but not the pain. Sinaia tried to scream from pain, but all that came out was a weak cry. We will deliver the baby in an hour, and everything will be over, the doctor said. But the pain is terrible. I do not think I could hold on for an hour. You're probably spoiled. The doctor smiled and glanced at Yoel, her husband, who was sitting on a chair holding a Bible. Her sister's cries of pain were heard next door, and immediately thereafter was the soothing voice of her mother, followed by the sound of cries of the other twin. Yoel. Sinaia turned to him weakly. I feel terrible. I know. It's also hard for me that your mother and your sister are in the next room. It's not that. I feel that something is wrong with my pregnancy. Maybe go ask my mother to come here. Yoel put the Bible aside and grabbed Sinaia's hand. Emotional pain is harder than any physical pain. Yoel, something is wrong with me. God forbid, don't talk like that. He calmed her. Please, do me a favor, tell my mother to come here. Yoel lowered his head and was silent for a long moment. I'm sorry, Sinaia. Half an hour after our arrival here, I begged her to forgive me, and especially you, her daughter, but she told me that she has no daughter named Sinaia. Indeed, Yoel was right. Mental suffering is often stronger. Sinaia looked at him as he went back to read the Bible. There, he hid his grieving face. A vague screen slowly appeared on her, and Yoel's face appeared and disappeared in a steady rhythm along with the pain that come and go. Vaguely, she sees 3 doctors in white coats entering her room in haste, and then disappeared. Noise is heard around. The fetus is in danger. Cesarean operation. Quick, we are losing her. Sinaia sinks into a deep and a peaceful sleep. Nothing hurts anymore. Please wake up, I beg you. Please forgive me. The voice of her mother is drawing her out from the bottom. She felt the wet face of her mother close to her face. You have a daughter, someone told Yoel, and the last smile slips from Sinaia's lips. I stood near the house yard of Sinaia and Yoel, and looked at the girl, who played alone in the yard. She looks so much like Sinaia. I'm standing in a circle and looking around me. I'm extending my hand to my friend. I sing so silently. Sinaia's daughter looks at me for a moment, and then slipped into the house. You can read more books by Nava Dijkstra in Google Book.